with them losing. It does have not feelings. I mean, it reminds me of Dirk Nowitzki winning the MVP, his only one in 2007, and getting it and it being announced after they lost in the first round of the playoffs to the 8th seed Golden State Warriors. So that was kind of an embarrassment situation. And this is somewhat like that, but it's also a great accomplishment. 3 MVPs, only 7 guys. He will be the 7th guy to win his 3rd MVP. So that's awesome. I think, though, and you talked earlier about, like, the media in harsher times, like, this ratchets up the pressure on him to win a Super Bowl. Like, it already was there because he's got 2 MVPs and he's been great in the regular season. But now it just comes, it's even more. Every year he doesn't win it, the pressure gets higher and higher and higher. And so I think it's a great accomplishment for him to because I do think he started with a 20-yard, in a 100-yard dash, he was 20 yards behind the other contestants. And he played so well that he was able to overcome it, assuming he wins the MVP. But I think it'll be tough to get that 4th before he gets to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know if it has any significance to him at all. He talked all season long about how important winning the playoffs was. And if anything, it probably makes this season that much more disappointing. And I'd say it's even more disappointing because you had Derrick Henry, who could easily be in the same conversation because his numbers rivaled Saquon.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it would mean the voters, like, if he wins it, I feel the voters got it wrong. And I think that Sean McDermott's quotes, I understand it's a regular season award, but follow me here. Ty Dunn, who does a great job, he writes, he's the one who, remember a year and a half ago, the article that came out that talked about the McDermott quotes about 9/11 and the kind of inside that whole thing. That Ty Dunn had that story. He does a really good job. It's on Substack. You got to pay for it. It is a good job. He had something that didn't get picked up as much as maybe it would have if it were in the mainstream, because he's in the winner's locker room. And inside the winner's locker room, their ticket to the AFC Championship game punch, Bills players were frank. They wanted to put the ball in Lamar's hands. Head coach Sean McDermott instructed the defense to sell out on Derrick Henry and the Ravens' rushing attack to win first down and make Baltimore one-dimensional. So I just don't think that's ever the game plan for the other MVP candidates. Now, Goff, you could say that it's like, hey, we want to take the runaway first, but I don't think Goff was a perennial candidate or the real candidate. And it's just so why, even though his numbers were amazing, it felt to me like Josh had the better case this year. But he now will join this group of 3-time MVPs. And Aaron's the only one without multiple championship appearances. Aaron, Brett, and Jim Brown are the only ones without multiple championships. And then there's Lamar going over. I said this after last year's MVP. I will now say it again. I do not find Lamar Jackson, if I were a voter, I can't imagine the season he would have to have, Brew, for him to win my vote before we see. And by the way, I'm not saying he has to win a championship, but he has to at least get to a Super Bowl and, you know what I mean, have a great playoff run. Like, I just can't. I think that's fair too, by the way. I don't think that's moving the goalposts. I don't know if you disagree with me.
I think that's fine.
It would have to be an astronomical. He would have to be so far out in front
40
of
yards
everybody
behind
else.
now.
Yeah,
he started 20.
50, I think.
Oh, 50.
Yeah.
50 yards behind.
I just want to take your temperature on this as like the Vegas or insider Vegas guy. It was Josh Allen the whole time. Then it felt like some intel came out.
All-pro voting.
For all-pro, that Lamar got it. And then the odds switched.
Yeah.
Do you dismiss the idea that the all-pro voters who also vote for MVP decide to split their vote?
No, I don't. I think I thought it was possible that people would say all-pro, Lamar had the best statistical season, MVP, Josh's team won more, you know what I mean? He had more value.
I can see that.
So here's the reason. It's been now long enough it feels to me like the odds the info would have come out. that it's been, you know what I mean?
Someone saying
Someone,
split
yeah,
the vote.
enough people would have been like, so who'd you vote for? Who'd you vote for? The fact that the odds haven't flipped makes me think Lamar is going to win
put a
it.
dollar on
I
Josh
think
Allen.
I think maybe the
I can see it.
interesting question would have been, maybe we should have done it. Does Lamar hope he doesn't win it?
Yeah,
I'll
think
say
it's
this.
better-
I don't think he, honestly, I don't think he cares.
Well,
I think he was so focused on the Super
I
Bowl.
buy that,
I
but
don't
that,
think
my
he really
question's a different one. Is he going to be at that award ceremony?
Yes.
Like, don't call my name. Call Josh Allen's name.
No.
The
No, I think
I'd take it
if you're
I'm-
showing up to the ceremony.
Yeah,
I'll
I
take
would
the
take
MVP,
it.
thank you.
Yeah,
I really feel like the last 3 weeks of the season.
remember,
43 is a lot. Third in passer rating, fourth in completion percentage. Only had 9 interceptions, but again, they didn't win a ton of games. Not necessarily his fault. Any issue with Burrow being an MVP finalist?
I have an issue with this being the collection. I don't think it makes sense.
Those
If it's,
5 guys.
Yes. If it's about raw numbers, then Josh Allen shouldn't be there. But it just shouldn't be. If it's just who had the best stats this year, it should be Lamar, Burrow. If we want to include
Joe.
running backs, Saquon and Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Jaden, you know what I mean, had a sneaky case late, but probably not if it's raw numbers. By the way, if it's just raw stats, Jamar Chase, who wins the damn Triple Crown, those should be the people. If it's about impact on winning success of team, then I do think someone on the Chiefs has to be represented. You guys can pick who it is. I know it seems like everybody had a bad year. Everybody had a down year. They didn't have any Pro Bowlers. They went 15-1. But Joe Burrow can't be there. Like the MVP, the MVP is not the Offensive Player of the Year. It's the MVP.
Yeah, he's nominated for that too.
Right. I have never believed, Brew, you should have to be the 1 seed, or but
Yeah.
I think that when half the conference makes 7 of 16 make the playoffs.
It's only happened twice in the history of the NFL where guys won the MVP who didn't go to the playoffs. It was Johnny Unitas in '67 and O.J. Simpson. Yeah, Brew covered it in '73. And O.J. that year broke Jim Brown's record.
143
and he was
yards
the
a
first
game.
guy to rush for 2,000 yards. Yeah. I don't think we can compare
14 games.
Burrow's season this year to O.J. Simpson's season in 1973. And it just doesn't seem like it makes
And
sense.
even Johnny Unitas, they were 11-1-2. Like
Really?
that was where you had to win the division
Wow.
to make the playoffs, and they tied the Rams, and the Rams must have been.
You're up there just
I was watching.
Let's go.
I was watching that season.
He
But,
just was
yeah.
watching it before the show.
No, I mean, I'm not as if he won it, I would be really bothered by it. But I think with 5 places now that you put 5 guys, I think some voters are like, as you get to the bottom of the 5, 4, and 5, he had a great year. He's not going to win it, but, I put him on the ballot. So I think some of that could be at play. But, there's no way he should win it and really be a strong candidate to win it.
Okay. Talking Chiefs.
Knew this was going to happen, and I'm shocked Andy even got nominated. He's not going to win it. Kevin O'Connell will win it. Somebody who's had a lot of time to prepare their acceptance speech is going to win it. Somebody has to explain to me how this team wins all these games. They don't have they don't have a great offensive player. They don't have a super valuable player. They have 1 Pro Bowler on defense, but he's not that good. He's not one of the 5 best defensive players in the sport. Do they have great coordinators? No, those guys didn't get nominated either. So I think when Brew is saying at the bottom of ballots they're to throw a name on, I don't think it would have been outrageous on the MVP bottom ballots to be like, the guy who was the best fourth-quarter quarterback and had the most game-winning drives and dealt with
Right,
the
you're
most
gonna start a
offensive
write-in
injuries.
campaign.
No, not write-in. I'm saying for put Mahomes in the Burrow spot would have been fine. But Chris Jones was the most important defensive player in football this year. And I do not care that he had 5 sacks. I know that his sacks were low, his pressures were at the top of the league, his double team rate was at the top of the league, and no one has been able to explain to me yet how the Chiefs could be one of the only teams in the league, I think one of 2 teams, top 5 in yards and points allowed, 2nd straight year, without another great defensive player in the top front 7, unless Chris Jones was that impactful. And the answer is he was that impactful. And so I think it's a slap in Chris Jones's face more than anything.
I think it's great. I think we talk about Michael Jordan over the course of his career, looking for motivation, looking to find some sort of slight when you're so good that continues to motivate you. And if you're Andy Reid and you're talking to the team, we're just a bunch of average guys. Nobody really feels that you're that good. So and you can play off of that, because from a universal league perspective, in almost every award, they're not recognized regardless of how many games they win, regardless of how many ways they find a way to win, regardless of how many ways that they show their resilience and toughness and all those things that make a team a two-time back-to-back Super Bowl champ with a chance to win a third. That's what you're preaching. We're just a bunch of guys. That's how everybody views us. So let's see what a bunch of guys can go do.
Yeah, I think this is going to be great for the Chiefs. The motivation, I mean, obviously they're already motivated, but this just makes it more. This is the thing I'll say, but obviously Chris Jones is fantastic. And impact-wise, I think you make a good case. But stats do matter. Like 5 sacks was 72nd in the league. Only 9 tackles for losses. That was 57th in the league. So I think
that's
guys.
the guys that don't have Super Bowl.
No. He means for the awards. But Bruce, Zach Vaughn got nominated for the Eagles middle linebacker because of the impact he had on a great defense. He does now, given the position he plays, he's not going to have crazy numbers. But D tackle, aside from Aaron Donald, historically doesn't have crazy numbers.
And Jones
either.
The last few years had a lot of sacks.
What is so bothersome to me is all of the other teams that were legitimate Super Bowl contenders as far as their record, and the Bengals, got nominated all over the place. You see Eagles all over the place. Assistant Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know if Quentin Mitchell got nominated for Defensive Rookie of the Year or not. I think he did. Great.
Deshaun got Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Cooper DeJean. Okay, great. The Bills have an MVP candidate, obviously. The Lions, Coach of the Year, Jared Goff. And the Chiefs, it's like, okay, Andy, who hasn't won Coach of the Year in 23 years.
Maybe
he won
he
it
wins it.
no chance.
I think he should be Coach of the Year.
Okay, well,
I really think he should. With guys,
but he's not going to be.
Looking at all that matters is January. We just got to win the Super Bowl, and he got them to go 15-2. I think he should. I agree. He probably won't.
Unanswerable question. Super average team.
Mahomes.
Quarterback after the terrible year.
They're a great team. You said it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.